get back home after a long, stressful day, pop in your headphones and think, finally a moment for my brain to relax. Well, sorry to break it to you, but your brain is actually doing quite the opposite. When you listen to music, so many different parts of the brain are at work simultaneously. Let's start with the music's entry gate, your ear. Each sound has a frequency or pitch. Your ear is geared to identify this frequency. It can pick up the difference between a low boat horn and the sound of a high flute. It translates that information into an electrical signal. The signal then travels to the brain by the auditory nerve, through the brainstem, and onto its first processing station, the primary auditory cortex. Here, the brain decodes the pitch of each individual note. The auditory cortex is part of a larger structure called the temporal lobe. There's one on each side of the brain, but for sound processing, the brain prefers to use the right side. The temporal lobe is the core of language, memory, and audio. After the primary, it's off to the secondary auditory cortex, where the melody and rhythm are decoded. Watch how music lights up the brain. For beat perception, the signal heads over to the cerebellum and motor cortex. For harmonies, the frontal lobe and cingulate cortex. To distinguish the instruments, back to the temporal lobe. For memory, the signal travels in a loop between your frontal lobe and auditory cortex. For that emotional thrill we get from music or the peaceful feeling of relaxation, the signal travels to the limbic system with its amygdala, the infamous reward system. Simply put, when you listen to music, your rational thinking is trying to decode the basic structures of the music, its rhythms, melodies, harmonies, textures, all while the limbic system takes your brain and body on an emotional roller coaster. Today, scientists are working hard to understand just how different kinds of music affect the brain and if music has the potential to help people medically. Find out how this is possible in the next video.